Welcome to practice. I'm Casapini, and we are going to practice on the floor today. We're going to have fun on the floor with yoga. So I'd like you to just come to lie down on your back. You can start with your knees bent. And I'll just bring a chime to remind ourselves to come to this moment right now, letting go of everything you've already done before class, letting go as best you can of everything you're going to do after class, and to just come to this moment right now. So begin by just enjoying the support of your spine on the floor. Your knees are bent, and I'd like you to become aware of the pelvis area, the lower back area, and as you inhale, tilt the pelvis forward toward your knees, and exhale, press the lower back to the floor. So you're inhaling, tilting the pelvis forward toward the knees, making a little tunnel behind the lower back. And then as you exhale, you press the lower lumbar area to the floor so there's no space. So try that a few times, very gently, rocking the pelvis forward and back. Your hips stay on the floor. Combining breath and movement. Inhale, arch. Exhale, press. Inhale, arch. Exhale, press. Good. Inhale, arch. And exhale, press. Now, try to find that place in between the two movements that we just did. And we're going to find that place with the breath. So I'd like you to arch a little bit, press a little bit. In other words, you're making a smaller movement, smaller movements as we go. And then eventually straighten out your legs on the floor. And now let's just use the breath to relax the lower lumbar area. I always like to also press into the heels of my feet and then lift my hips a tiny bit from that pressing of the heels and lengthen the buttock flesh down toward the feet, the tailbone toward the feet. So on your exhale, imagine the sound is like a ha. You can even just whisper it to yourself. Let the lower jaw separate from the upper jaw. So you're going to breathe in. Ah. You can do a voiced ha or whispered ha or even a silent ha on the exhale. And as you're breathing in and breathing out, send that exhale into the pelvis and allow a sense of deep relaxation. Using the breath, it's a wonderful way to relax the psoas muscle here. So I want you to breathe in, breathe out on a ha. Visualize that breath moving into the bottom of the pelvis, relaxing, releasing. And eventually, after a few breaths, you might notice the lower jaw just relaxes a little bit more. And when that happens, that indicates a definite release of the psoas. Now, keeping your psoas in a more neutral position, not your psoas, I mean the lower lumbar area, excuse me. It's not overly arched, it's not pressing, it's right in the middle. I want you to inhale, lift your arms up overhead, palms face each other, stretch out through your heels, stretch the body. And then exhale, just lower the arms. Inhale, slowly lift the arms, stretch arms, stretch through the heels of your feet, and then release. Once more, inhale, lift the arms, stretch the body. Exhale, Lower the arms. Good. Now, flex your feet, point the toes to the ceiling. You're going to roll your inner knees a little bit downward. Even you can lift your head a little bit with your hands and just make sure your toes are really pointing straight up to the ceiling. Release the head. And I'm going to invite you to lift the right leg up from the inner part of your thigh, the inner thigh, right, where the psoas is attaching. So you're going to try to do a little bit of a lift. It doesn't have to be more than 2 inches. Hold it there if you can, and lower it down. Try that again and notice where that leg lift occurs. It should occur from a deeply relaxed psoas, and lower. If this is painful, just visualize the movement. Inhale, and as you exhale, right from the inner thigh, right here where the psoas is, you're going to lift just a couple inches off the floor. Hold it a breath if you can, and lower. Now, just for contrast, I want you to turn that right foot out to the right a little bit. So really from the top of your thigh, you can turn it out so you get a nice external rotation. And now, just for contrast, I'm going to invite you to lift that leg up another inch off the floor with that external rotation. And you'll sense completely different muscles are used to lift the leg. So try that. See what that feels like. And again, if it's difficult, don't lift very high at all. Just the intention to lift that leg with the external rotation. See how it works completely different parts of your leg. Good. Now come back with the toes pointing straight up. Flex the foot. Breathe, exhale, soften into the pelvis, soften into the psoas, and then lift the right leg just once more, just to feel the difference, feel the contrast. Okay, good. Let's try to go to the other side now. Left toes are pointing straight up to the ceiling. Inhale, as you exhale with your lower back in the neutral position. Lift the leg a little bit and lower it. Breathe in, and as you exhale, very gently, jaws relaxed. You're lifting that left leg up. Now hold it a moment and lower it down. One more time. Inhale. As you exhale, lift it 1 inch, 2 inches off the floor. Hold it there. Strengthening the psoas without strain. And release. And again, just for contrast, turn your left leg out from the top of your left thigh. Roll that whole leg to the left. When you're ready, on an exhale, lift that left leg up and just notice it's completely different muscles, and lower the leg. Try one more time. Lift and lower. Come back to the first position where your left toes are pointing right up to the ceiling. Take a breath. As you exhale, soften into the pelvis, soften into the psoas. Another breath here. As you exhale, one more lift, just to remember what that feels like, and lower down. And one final one if you can. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift and lower. Very good. Nice. Now bend both knees. You can use your hands to help your legs come up. Please roll the ankles around in one direction and roll the ankles around in another direction. Try to draw smooth circles and notice any sounds your ankles might be making. That's fine. Now the brain teaser, the feet roll in toward each other and then away from each other. And then do the opposite. The toes go in toward each other, then away from each other, the opposite circle. Nice. Now let's do wind expeller. Lay one leg out, hug the other leg in toward its own armpit. The straight leg, the foot is flexed, toes are flared. Hug the right knee into yourself. I even like to hold behind the knee sometimes and circle that thigh bone in the hip socket to release some synovial fluid, which is like the WD-40 for your hip socket. A natural lubricant that your body makes. And then switch. And again, you can flex and flare both feet, both sets of toes, and circle the thigh bone around in your hip socket, just noticing you can go in 2 directions, and then hug the knee in toward its armpit, its own armpit, and stretch the straight leg, stretch out through the heel. Good, good, good. I'm just checking my menu. I wrote out a nice sequence. I want to make sure that I do it all with you. All right, now both knees bend. Let's do a hip opener. Take your left ankle to the right knee. Foot is flexed, toes are flared. You can start with your left hand on the top of the left thigh. Press that thigh away from your face and then release it. Press it away and release it. That's kind of variation A. Variation B, you pick the right foot up off the floor with your hands behind the right thigh, and you pull that right thigh in toward your torso. Feet are, especially the top foot is flexed, toes are flared. At the same time, if it works on your body, use your left elbow and forearm to press the left thigh away from you. Gently breathe in, gently breathe out. And the third variation, which doesn't have to happen today or this year, you actually lift your head, you interlace your hands on top of the right knee, and you pull, and that's very deep for the hip opener. You'll feel it on the outer left hip, most likely, or the groin. So breathe into that. And if that's too hard, go back 1 variation or 2 variations. Please release. Good. Other side. Right ankle to left knee. Let's start with the first variation. The right hand is at the very top of the right thigh. You're going to press it away. And then you're going to release. Gently press it away. Inhale. Exhale. Use your breath. Top foot is flexed, meaning the toes pull back toward their own knee. Toes are flared, meaning make space between your toes. The next variation, you pick up the left foot off the floor. You hug the left knee toward its own left side armpit. Flex your feet, flare the toes. If it works on your body, use your right elbow to press against the right thigh. Press it away. Even as the left thigh is pulling toward your chest, the right thigh is pressing away. Use your breath here. Big breath in, long breath out. So really, the delicious part of the yoga practice is, one of them anyway, is just really bringing your awareness into this moment right now and gently exploring, how is it working today? How is it going today? Without judgment. Just noticing like a scientist, what's going on. Now lift your head if you can, interlace your hands on top of the left knee, and then try to return your head to the floor. Now, if your head doesn't return to the floor here, I would go back 1 variation and just allow the shoulders to relax on the floor, the chest is popped, and you're breathing here. Really good. Release that. 1 more hip opener, please. Left leg goes over the right, and you pick up both feet. So you can use your hands behind your legs to pull your legs in toward your chest. There's no space behind the knees. Flex your feet, flare the toes. Put 1 hand on one shin, 1 hand on the other shin if you can. Hold where you can. Pull in with the arm energy. Squeeze the legs a little bit toward each other, the feet a little bit toward each other, a little adduction. And then drag your heels down toward the floor as you pull your knees more actively into your chest. Gently breathe in. Gently breathe out. Again, just explore. Have fun with it. Good, and release. Other side. Right leg on top, left leg snugs underneath. 1 hand on each shin or knee, wherever you can hold. Flex your feet, flare the toes, puff the chest. You're actively pulling the legs in toward your chest, and then your heels pull down toward the floor. Excellent. Now let's go into bridge. So your feet are on the floor. Outer hip width apart, bend your elbows right by your ribs so they're really touching the inner ribs. Palms face each other. So in this pose, bridge pose, feet press, elbows press, shoulders press, back of head presses the floor. And then inhale, lift your hips. Keep your thighs parallel, knees parallel. Eyes look above eyebrows. That's good for your neck. We don't want any vertebrae touching the floor in this pose. So eyes look away above your eyebrows. Breathe here. To make it even more active, drag your feet isometrically toward your head. That means they don't move, but it's as if you were dragging them up toward your head. And then lengthen at the same time your knees toward your big toes, your tailbone toward your big toes. Feel that. This is a good strengthener for the glutes. Good, and lower down. Now let's take a reclining twist. If you have that block there, let the wide face of the block be placed between your lower legs. Your feet come off the floor, they're flexed. And again, if you need to hold with your hands, do that. Otherwise, hands are going to be in cactus, arms in cactus, right angles at the elbows. Flex your feet, flare the toes, a little adduction, a little squeezing of the block. Inhale, and as you exhale, lower the knees to the right. As you do so, inhale, arch the lower lumbar spine. Exhale, release the left shoulder as best you can toward the floor. And your eyes can look up toward the ceiling. So inhale, arch the lower lumbar spine, stick your sit bones out behind you. Exhale, invite that opposite shoulder to release. If it hurts the shoulder area or the pectoral area, the top hand can rest on the top hip as a way to modify. Good. Please come back. And then go over to the other side. You can go over a little or more, or all the way to the floor, depending on what your body needs right now. Feet are flexed, toes are flared. Inhale, arch the lower lumbar spine. As you exhale, invite this opposite shoulder to get heavy and release. Breathe into the intercostal muscles here. Really expand the breath into the body. Exhale, exhale, exhale. So good. Nice. Return your feet to the floor. You can remove your block. And now we're going to go onto the belly. What I would like you to do is have a blanket under the tops of your hips. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to roll over and I'm going to take a blanket, make it into a long rectangle. And I'm going to put it in front of my pelvic bones. So I'm here. And I'm going to come onto the blanket with hands at the side of the chest into Cobra Pose. Rest your forehead on the floor. The tops of your feet are on the floor. Turn your fingers a little bit out toward the pinkies. Fingers are spread. All right. So from here, press the tops of your feet into the floor to start, and we're just going to lift the upper body. So inhale, lift your head. Shrug your shoulders toward your ears and up toward the ceiling. Your navel is lifting, your tailbone draws down. Your gaze is down the bridge of your nose, so the back of your neck is long. And then lower down. If you get a cramp in your toes, you can flex the feet instead. You can tuck the toes under, like this. Let's try that again. Your hands are pressing, your navel lifts, your tailbone draws down, and you inhale, you lift the head, shrug shoulders toward ears, you're wide across the upper chest, wide across the clavicle bones. Gently breathe in. And exhale, lower. Make a forearm pillow, rest your head to one side, turn your head to one side, wiggle your hips out a little bit, and breathe. The next variation is going to be Cobra, but we're going to add a lift of one leg. So it's the same upper body work. And as we lift the head and the torso, we're going to lift the left leg. When you're ready, Inhale, lift head, lift shoulders, upward chest, and lift the left leg a little bit. Press into your hands. Draw your shoulder blades in toward your spine, and then lower down. Let's try that again with the right leg. Firmly press into your hands. Lift your navel, actively continue that action. Inhale, lift head, lift shoulders, lift right leg. Breathe here, open the front chest, squeeze your elbows in toward your torso, and then exhale. Very good. Turn your head to one side and wiggle the hips out. Let yourself rest a moment. Gently breathe. Good. Now we're going to move up to the seated poses. So you can come onto your elbows, help yourself up to sitting. You can put your blanket to the side. And I'd like you to now do Dandasana. So your legs are straight, feet are flexed, toes are flared like happy fingers, hands behind you. Inhale, lift your chest. You can bend your elbows here. I like to actually be either flat palm or high up on fingertips with bent elbows so that I get more play in the shoulders. I can really lift the shoulders up and back. Lift your sternum. Take a couple breaths here. Your quads are engaged. The backs of your legs are pressing to the floor. Pull the pinky edges of your feet back toward their respective hips. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now the next pose we're going to attempt is a strengthener for the arms and shoulders. It's reverse table. So point your fingers to the long edges of the mat. Bend your knees. Root through your feet. Feet are going to be pressing. Hands are pressing. Inhale, lift your chest. This will help support you. You get those shoulder blades on the back. And what you're going to do is start with an awareness in the foundation. Into your feet, into your hands. Inhale, lift your hips a little bit and lower down. Just kind of testing the waters. Try it again if you can. Firm your hands, claw the floor. Inhale, maybe lift a little more. And release. Now you can stop whenever it feels like you've had enough. I'm going to just show you a little bit more of lifting the hips as high as I can. Stretching out through the knees. Maybe looking up to the ceiling and then lower down. So that's a pose you can definitely take your time with and work up to. All right, let's do seated twist. Right leg is straight. Left foot is going to come and cross over that right straight leg. You're leaning on your left hand. The right hand holds the left knee. Inhale, lengthening your spine. As you exhale, gently now from the lower lumbar area, slowly start to twist the body to the left. And then you're going to feel the middle back twisting, the upper back, finally the neck and head. Keep your awareness in that straight leg foot. Make sure it's flexed, toes are flared. Inhale, again, lengthening your spine, make space in the body. Exhale, gently twist. Enjoy the exhale, this feeling of wringing out tension, letting go, and nourishing the spine. When you're ready to come back, I would like you to inhale and come back to center. Good. Let's switch. Right leg, notice I'm using my hands to help the leg up if need be. Right leg crosses over. Left leg is straight, toes are flared. You're leaning on the right hand. Inhale, lengthening your spine. Your left hand is holding the outside of the right knee. As you're inhaling, you're lengthening in the spine. As you're exhaling, lower lumbar twists. Another breath. Middle back twists to the right. On the next exhale, the upper back is moving and the neck and head. Yeah, you can take a look and make sure that straight leg foot is flexed. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice the sensations of the shape of the pose, the asana, and how the breath is moving. It can be a little bit harder to breathe smoothly in a twist, but let your breath guide you so that you don't overwork and you don't push. The breath should always be smooth and even. Good, then inhale, come back. All right, now abdominal work, Navasana. Knees are bent, you're holding behind your thighs. Inhale, lift your sternum, get your shoulder blades onto your back. Again, it's like a feeling of loving hands on your back. Lean back a little bit, try to find your balance between sit bones and tailbone. And we're going to lift one leg at a time. So you'll lift the right foot up and the lower leg so the shin becomes parallel to the floor, and then lower down. Please alternate that, keeping that good position of the upper body with the blades on your back. Lift one shin, lower it down, lift one shin, lower it down, alternating, breathing. Really good. Rest when you need to rest. Abs are built with repetition, so rest when you need to rest, and then over time you will add repetitions. All right, now I'd like you to come into a child's pose. So if you can swing your legs around, open the knees wide, toes together. Take your arms out in front, come high up on your fingertips. So you're lifting your wrists, your forearms, your upper arms, your armpits. And this will feel most likely a wonderful stretch for the lower lumbar area. Breathe here. Now let's walk the hands and arms over to the left. So walk the hands and arms over to the left. Keep lifting the right armpit up, but press the right hip back and down. So this right hip is pressing back and down, and you'll feel a nice opening on the right side of the body. Breathe into the intercostal muscles, the muscles between your ribs. Ooh, big breath in, long breath out. Another breath in, another breath out. Good, please come back through center. Walk the hands and arms over to the other side, to the right. Keep lifting the left forearm, left armpit, but do press the left hip back and down, again, to increase the stretch on the whole left side of your torso. Breathe deeply here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead. Come back to center. Walk your hands out. Now just go ahead and grab your blanket once again and open it so that you can cushion your knees a little bit. I wanted you to slip it under your knees. And I want to do a moving child's pose. We can do it in sort of 3 moves. So you'll start with your hands in front, elbows bent, forehead to floor. On an inhale, you'll press your hands into the floor, start to move your torso forward, start to come onto your knees, and your hands can be as close to your knees as you need them to be. You can even walk your hands up your legs to help lift the torso, then lift the arms toward the ceiling, big stretch. Then exhale, release the arms, move the hips back toward your heels. Your hands can come to the floor again to guide you back down to the start position. Let's try that again. If it's too much, you can rest. Inhale, lift your head, start moving your torso forward, start moving your hips forward. Your hands are pressing into the floor. Then you can come right up, hands up to the ceiling. Big stretch, root through your shins and the tops of your feet so you have more foundation there. And then exhale, release the arms. Your hands can come to the floor here to guide you back into child's pose. Stay there a moment and breathe. Just rest in child's pose. Now I'd like you to come onto all fours. So all fours, we're going to do cat-cow on all fours. Bring your wrists underneath your armpits. Your knees are still on the blanket, and you can even move the knees back a little bit behind your hips. Firm your hands. Make your index fingers parallel to the long edges of the mat. So just eyeball that for yourself. Index fingers parallel to the long edges of your mat. Knees a little bit behind hips. Firm your hands, firm your arms. Inhale, and as you exhale, round your spine. Inhale, release the spine, look forward. You're arching the lower lumbar spine. Exhale, round. Inhale, release. Exhale, round. Inhale, release. Exhale, round. Inhale, release. Good. Come to a more neutral spine. And we're going to do mini push-ups, either 1 or 2 or 3. Firm your hands, firm your arms. Lift your navel toward your spine. Melt between your shoulder blades a little bit. Melt the upper chest a little bit between your shoulder blades. Now, looking forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, bend your elbows. You take your chest and chin down and forward just about an inch or two, and then press your arms straight so you come back up. Inhale, bend your elbows just a little bit. Hug the elbows in toward your torso and come back up. Either rest or try one more. Inhale, chest and chin down and forward just a little bit. Building that strength in the arms. Good. Walk back the hands. Sit down a moment on your heels. And I'd like you to just roll your wrists out because we were on our wrists for a little while. So just give your wrists a break. Roll them out. Now I'd like to try a moving downward facing dog. So coming onto all fours. Firm your hands. Firm your arms. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, arch your spine, look forward. As you exhale, press your hands into the floor. Lift your knees a little bit. Come into downward facing dog. Hips back, thighs back. Then put the knees on the floor. Your feet are going to be 4 to 6 inches apart, so just look back and check. Inhale, arch your spine, look forward. Exhale, lift knees, lift hips. Your hands press down and forward, feet press down and back. Stretch your thighs back, inner thighs move back. Put the knees on the floor. Either rest or try just one more. Inhale, arch your spine, look forward. Exhale, lift knees, lift hips to the degree that you can. Remember, you can slowly build up strength with repetition. Good. Let's swing the legs back around. You can move your blanket. Great. Well done, well done. So now I would like to get to some forward bends. So here you will need your strap. Here's my strap. Okay, I'm going to face the camera. You can see me better. Let's go into now Janu Shirshasana. All right? So let's have the right leg straight, left leg bent. I have a block here in case I need it, and I'll show you how to use that in a moment. So have your straight leg coming straight out of its own hip socket. The other knee is going to bend, and you can bring the heel of the foot all the way up to its own inner thigh. But if that feels like too much, then that left foot can go by the inner calf or by the ankle. All right, so see which one works for you. Put the strap around the straight leg foot. Pull on the strap. Arms are straight, toes pointing right up to the ceiling. So as you do this, you'll notice the pulling on the strap helps to tilt your pelvis forward. And this is excellent because that's the first action you want to do in a forward bend. Yeah, good. Breathe here. Engage the quad of the straight leg. Press the back of the straight leg to the floor. Now, lengthening your spine, bend your elbows. Draw your shoulder blades in toward the spine. As you start to bow forward, lead with your sternum, not your chin. Bow forward a little bit. Keep that straight leg actively pressing down toward the floor. And you can fold a little bit. One more. Give it time, give it time. Give the body time to open up. Breathe here. I'm inching up on my strap little by little as I get the cue from my body. I listen in. What's appropriate for today? Don't push. Just be gentle with yourself. Maybe you won't need the strap. Maybe eventually you will hold on to your toes and then go ahead and bow very deeply, keeping the quad engaged. Really good. Gently come back up. All right, let's go to the other side now. Straighten the other leg. Now it's the left leg out in front of you. The right heel, you can try bending the knee and bringing that heel right to its inner thigh, but you might notice that that knee is very high on one side, and if it is, then you could put a block underneath that side, or you can lower the foot to a more modified position. I like to put a block under the side that has more challenge. So this side is my tighter side. I have a torn hip labrum that I work with. So I support it with a block underneath my middle of thigh bone. All right, so you're putting the strap on the straight leg foot. Once again, pull on the strap. You'll feel yourself rock to the fronts of your sit bones. That's good, we want that. The top of your sacrum draws into the body. That's the triangular bone at the base of your spine. All right, so you're engaging the straight leg. Quad, it engages, it feels like it's pulling the kneecap up toward the hip. Good. And lengthening your spine, and as you exhale, gently bow. Bend your elbows out to the sides. Draw your shoulder blades in towards spine. Lead with your sternum, your breastbone. And again, as you use your breath and as you very gently listen inwardly, you might notice that the body gives you a cue. It might say, okay, that's enough, and stop right there. Or it might say, go a little more. Breathe. Perhaps an opening, perhaps. Yeah, eventually maybe you will hold on to your toes. It does not have to happen today or this month or even this year. You're still getting all the benefits of your seated forward fold, no matter what variation you're doing. Excellent. Wonderful. To come back up, you can walk your hands on the floor. Using the strap, let's do one more seated forward fold, straight leg, Paschimottanasana. Both legs are straight forward. Now, if this is hard for you, you could always sit up on a blanket. We could have done that in the last pose, and we could do it in this pose. I'll just take the blanket, put it under the sit bones. So you sit your sit bones on the very front edge of a blanket, and that does help tilt the pelvis in the direction you need it to tilt. Feet are flexed, toes are flared. Pull on your strap. Rock to the fronts of your sit bones. Engage your quads. Backs of your legs press downward. And start to bow. Once again, the elbows are moving out to the side to help you get your shoulder blades on your back more. And gently bow, gently bow. You can use your strap. You can walk your hands on the floor if you don't have a strap. You can hold on to the toes and gently bow. So this is a really nice stretch for the back body, as well as your hamstrings. Release your neck, release your head. Keep the legs engaged. As you're folding forward, keep the legs engaged. Really good. And come back up. Excellent. Now we're going to return to lying on the floor. So come to lie down with your knees bent and feet up off the floor. Your hands are holding behind your thighs. So we're going to do a movement with breath. As you inhale, lift the lower legs, point the toes to the ceiling, straighten the legs to the degree that you can, stretch up through the heels, and then exhale, bend the knees, and rest. Let's do that again. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift up through the heels, reach up through the heels, exhale, bend the knees, and release. That's my dog Rocky barking, by the way. Inhale, stretch your legs. Toes come over your eyes if possible. Stretch up through the heels. You're flexing your feet for a moment. Feel the stretch at the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Then bend the knees and release. Please put feet on floor. Take a moment to just breathe in and breathe out. Very good. Nice. Now hold one hand on each shin. Open the knees out a little bit toward the outer edges of your torso. And notice as you pull the knees in toward your chest, it does round the lower back and the lower hips come a little bit off the floor. Notice that. And then now gently drop your sit bones to the floor. And you'll notice that changes the curve of the lower lumbar spine into a little bit more of an arch. So just stay there a moment. Feel that and breathe. Full breath in. Long breath out. Good. Bring the knees together. Feet on the floor. And let's just do something for the shoulders right now. With your head and back resting on the floor, hold on to your elbows. Like you make a little frame. And the elbows are vertical over your armpits. Now rock that shape over to the right and over to the left. Do that a couple of times very gently. It is not the goal to bring your elbows to the floor, so don't even, try that. You don't have to go there. It's just a gentle rocking of the shape back and forth. This is nice to work your shoulder range of motion. Come back to center. Now lift the right arm up. Your other hand can rest on your belly or the floor. The wrist is vertical over the armpit. Gently reach up as you inhale. As you exhale, retract the upper arm bone into your shoulder socket, and you don't bend your arm at all. So inhale, reach up away, open the fingers, exhale, straight arm connects back into its own shoulder socket. Inhale, exhale. It's a very gentle movement. You might notice a little bit of jumpiness or resistance in the movement at first. So continue to do it about 8 times until the jumpiness goes away and the movement becomes very smooth. You inhale, reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, retract to the floor. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, retract. I like to do it about 8 times. For me, that seems to be the magic number where it starts to smooth out. You, of course, will explore your own number. And relax that arm. Lift the left arm up. The wrist is vertical over the armpit. Open the fingers. Palm faces in toward the midline. Inhale, reach up toward the ceiling with a straight arm. Exhale, retract back into the shoulder socket. Inhale, reach away. Exhale, retract back. Inhale, reach away. Exhale, retract back. Very slow, very subtle. Gently notice any resistance, any jumpiness in the movement. And as you continue to repeat it, notice if it smooths out. It becomes more straightforward, easier, smoother. Breathe in, reach away. Breathe out, connect into the shoulder socket. Good, and then release. Now we're going to go into a meditation in Shavasana. So please continue to lie down, make yourself very comfortable. If you'd like to put a little blanket roll under your knees, that's always nice for the lower back, having that support under the knees. You can open your feet out or hip width apart, arms alongside body, palms turn up. Press into your heels once again and lift your hips slightly. Take the buttock flesh. You can even brush the buttock flesh toward the feet with your hands. The tailbone reaches down, just to give a little more space and comfort to the lower lumbar area. Good. So you can continue lying down. I'll sit up so it'll be easier for me to guide you through the meditation from a sitting up position, but you continue to rest. Also make sure you're warm. Today's meditation is one of my favorite meditations. It is a meditation where we give thanks to what our body was able to do today. So I'll just talk you through. All you need to do is be aware of your breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. I'm looking for my little bell chime. There it is. All right. We'll do this meditation for about 4 minutes. And then we'll go right into deep rest, Shavasana. Now bring your awareness to your feet. Aware of my feet, I breathe in. Smiling to my feet, I breathe out. Feet, smiling. Aware of my legs, I breathe in. Smiling to my legs, I breathe out. Legs, smiling. Aware of my hips, I breathe in. Smiling to my hips, I breathe out. Hips, smiling. Aware of my belly and all my internal organs, I breathe in. Smiling to my belly and all my internal organs, I breathe out. Belly, internal organs, smiling. Aware of my chest, my shoulders, arms and hands, I breathe in. Smiling to my chest, shoulders, arms and hands, I breathe out. Chest, shoulders, arms, hands, all smiling. Aware of my neck, my throat, I breathe in. Smiling to my neck and throat, I breathe out. Neck, throat, smiling. Aware of my head and all my senses, I breathe in. Smiling to my head and all my senses, I breathe out. Head, senses, smiling. Aware of my entire body, I breathe in. Smiling to my entire body, I breathe out. Entire body, smiling. Now you can let that meditation go. Now continue to rest in Shavasana. Shavasana is the pose of repose. We practice formally resting because resting is so important to the body, to the mind. Allow these few final moments together in practice to integrate all the benefits of our practice today. So simply rest. You can take a swallow, release the lower jaw from the upper jaw. Allow the eyes to sink deeper into their sockets. And allow the skin of your scalp even to relax just a little bit more. There's always just a little bit more releasing and relaxing you can do. Now, as you continue to rest, I'll share a short chant with you. Shanti. The word Shanti means peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Now please gently take a full breath in and a long breath out. Very gently start to move fingers, toes, bend the knees, roll over onto your side. slowly help yourself back up to sitting. Please bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, palms press, thumbs into the heart, fingers spread, and gently bow your head to yourself as you honor yourself once again with practice.